Thank you, everybody, for joining in with another My Walk with MG Live. Today we have my girl, Miss Alicia. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing, Tasha?
I'm doing okay, and I cannot wait to go to bed, but I'm doing good.
I know that's right. I'm in the same place.
so, yeah, so we had some things going on, so we had to come back and do a redo. But I'm
Technical
so glad
difficulty.
that I'm glad that you was able to, come back on and you were absolutely understanding of everything that was going
Yeah, of
on. So
course.
thank you.
Yeah.
So, jumping right in, how and when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed officially. I'm gonna try to make this shorter than I last time. I feel like I went on for like forever with that. But it's a long story. But I was diagnosed officially June 26, 2019. And um, I I started getting symptoms, like ocular symptoms in 2018. So then in 2019, um, no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. I started getting ocular symptoms at around 17, and then 2018, I started getting the ocular symptoms were getting worse. So I went to the eye doctor, and they said, you might have myasthenia gravis, and I was like, wait, what? What'd you call me? And they were like, no, this is serious. They weren't
You know,
having it
every time you say that.
because they weren't having it because I make a joke out of everything, and they were like, no, this is serious. I was like, what? So they gave me, like, they told me what it was, and like, you need to see a neuro-ophthalmologist next week. This is September of 2018. You need to see a neuro-ophthalmologist next week because this is serious. This could be. And so I went home and Googled it, and I was like, no, no way. I do not have that because, first of all, it is not very sexy, and I like, my eye's gonna droop, my head's gonna fall. What? No, that's not something I have.
Right.
And something that's gonna slow me down that much? Absolutely not. No way. And at that time I didn't have generalized symptoms, so I wasn't, I didn't feel it that way. So I was like, oh, thank God, better not be that. So I went to the neuro-ophthalmologist along with another optometrist the next week, and they were like, they did testing on me, the neuro exam and ocular exams. And then they were like, yeah, it looks like this is probably MG. But let's do one more test. They did one eye drop test, and they were like, oh, you have Horner's. You have Horner's, but do you have MG and Horner's? And then my test for the antibodies for ACHR came back negative. So then they said, yeah, just Horner's, like, we guess, and see a oculoplastic surgeon to get eye surgery. So I was like, okay, just easy enough. Just like, nobody, wants to have surgery, but I felt like that's the simple fix. I can go
Right.
get this minor little surgery on my eye. It'll fix it. I'll look better. I won't have any double vision. Nobody will, I won't even remember this happened. And then that was the plan. Saw the surgeon January, who was like, Horner's? I don't know about that. And she just wasn't convinced. But then, I saw her again because it was getting worse, the ptosis. And then she was just like, yeah, okay, I guess, she was like, maybe, I guess, if they did other tests on you, they think that's what it is, the neurologist and everyone, then okay, we'll go with it. Scheduled surgery for April 2019. And then I was traveling in March of the month prior. I was traveling, like, in Korea and Taiwan, doing music over there, writing songs, and just working like crazy, working there, working here, just nonstop in the studio, just constant. And then went to Turks and Caicos with my writing partners. We were just on the move to the point where people were like, y'all have to eat. Like, in the studio, they were like, we're gonna order food now, like, we're gonna take you to eat, like, you can't just work all day. And we're like, we're here to work. So that's how that was. And then at that point, I guess I was just exhausted, and it brought out the MG. It made it generalize, because the ocular was already there. And then at that point, it made it progress, and and the
That's
symptoms
pretty
were,
fast.
yeah. Well, but I had, so that was September of 2018. 18 that I saw the neuro-ophthalmologist, but the ocular symptoms I'd had for like at least a year prior to that. So, you know, so
Well,
all in all, it
yeah,
took
I guess
like
it,
2 years or
yeah.
something. Yeah. So I was so bad. I was so sick. I was like, I couldn't pick up my coffee cup to drink it. I couldn't like, I needed help walking. I needed help doing everything. And, I remember like, I couldn't open water bottles. I couldn't open doors. I was so weak. And I ended up seeing, a neurologist who was like horrible. And this older
Yeah.
white man. What?
Yeah, I remember that
Mhm.
one.
So I saw a neurologist who, we won't mention any names, Dr. Daniel McGowan, in New York City, who deserves that because of how he acted. And he,
Oh
uh,
goodness.
and he was like, you don't have MG. You're making this up. He said, you're anxious. I think you're just anxious. Or, I mean, are you getting evicted? Did you break up with your boyfriend? Is it because you don't know your father? That's
That is
what this is.
crazy. Like, why would somebody say that to
I know,
anybody?
girl. I know. I'm like, I know he is not saying this to me right now. And then he did like he did a couple tests, but the problem was like, so my leg, he had me laying on the table and he had me lift up my leg. I could not lift my leg. I literally couldn't lift it this far. And then he put in his notes, I saw the notes later, that my muscle strength was normal. I'm like, what? Like I could barely move. It was
That's
really bad.
horrible.
And anyway, then he said, oh, I want to talk to you privately. And he sent my friend / writing partner out of the room, and my niece who was with me. They were both there to help me because I couldn't function. I needed them to carry my bag. I needed everything. I couldn't talk. Like my voice was so weak. I could barely be heard. And so they were there to kind of be my voice, literally. And he said, I just want to give you some advice. You shouldn't bring people with you to these appointments because especially not your business partner. And I said, well, that's my best friend as well, though. We've been friends 20 years. He goes, I don't care. He's your business partner. And, when it all comes out that there's nothing wrong with you and this is all in your head, you're going to be really embarrassed.
Wow.
Wow. So that was great. And then I didn't see him again. And I ended up calling the original neuro-ophthalmologist and optometrist. Actually, the optometrist there, I left a message asking, I asked for an appointment. She told the person to tell me that that they wouldn't be there for 2 weeks, so she couldn't see me. But then I had left her a message on her voicemail, and she ended up calling me back, and she said, listen, I know I told them that you can have an appointment, and that's true because the neuro-ophthalmologist isn't here yet. She's away for 2 weeks, but I had to respond to your message. Just hearing your voice, something told me, respond to this. And she was like, you don't, it's very concerning. You sound like you have MG, and the things that you're describing sounds like MG. And if it's affecting your swallowing, it's affecting your voice, what's next could be breathing, and that's an emergency. And she's like, you need to see a neuromuscular specialist immediately. And I was like, I just did. And I told her about him, and she's like, no, you need to see another one. So I did, found one, same hospital, different like location. And it was a woman who was very nice, but she wasn't sure, which is fair. That's fine. She didn't know if it was Horner's or MG. And so she said, I want to get, a specialist. So she got a neuro-ophthalmologist, and I found out from his medical assistant was working with Dr. Daniel McGowan, the first one, for like 17 years together in the same office, and they were friends. So I was like, this is great. I know how this is going to go. So he tells me that by that point, my weakness was actually better. For some reason, at that point, when it first started, I had it for like a few weeks, really bad flare. And then it got better. And then it was getting worse. It was like just kind of going up and down for a while. And I wasn't on treatment, So I told him that it had been bad the week before. He says, shh, you don't have muscle weakness. No, you don't. Shh. and just kept shushing me, like waving his hand in my face. And I'm like, wow, okay. I do. And, you know, and he wouldn't listen. And so then he had me read the letters on the chart. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I see, he said, read that row. I said, actually, you know, I do see 2 rows. And he was like, I just, so you know, and he was like, you don't see 2, you just see 1. I'm like, no, I see 2. I've been having double vision. And he was like, no, you don't. You
That
just
is
see 1 row,
so
just read it. And I'm like,
mind-boggling.
okay. Yeah, it was horrible. And then he said that, and then he did a Horner's test, which, by the way, you apparently have to, and I know this from the last doctor that diagnosed me, you have to do it for like an hour. And he did it for like 10 minutes and then sat with me. So he didn't even do it long enough. And then he goes, so I knew this would happen. I knew as soon as I saw your notes before you even came in that this was all in your head. Your eye is real, but everything else is all in your head. And I said, okay. Well, if it's all in my head, how am I going to prevent this from happening again? Because I don't like, I can't go through this again. Like, I can't handle this.
Right.
And he said, well, don't make it up in your head again. He said, don't make it up in your head again. And
Like, how do you, it's just one of those things, like, you literally have to sit there and be like, are you like, really?
yeah, I know. And then I was like, I left that office in tears. By the way, that's Dr. Mark Coopersmith. I'm calling him out because
You know what?
later I went on to the reviews on the pages, and you know what? There were so many reviews from, and I had been referred by different ones, and you know, the woman I had found on my own, but the others I had been, and I checked the reviews. The others I had been referred to. So I didn't like go checking the reviews, but you know what? Some advice to everyone who might be going through something medical and you're not sure what's going on, you need help, check those reviews, because I actually found a bunch of women, especially on there, saying that he said something similar to them. And I left that office in tears, and I said it to my friend. I told my friend, and he said, you know, if I were there, if that were me, he would not have treated me like that. I'm like, exactly. This is something that happens a lot to women, and especially Black women. And when I left, I was thinking to myself, if he, and I said to him, you know, if he, not to the doctor, to my friend, that if he treated me like that, how was he going to treat a Black woman, or any woman of color, but especially Black women? Like, how is that? You know, he's got to be treating, you know, Black women worse than me. You know, I mean, it's really not only disappointing, but I mean, just really unacceptable to treat,
I
you know,
agree.
patients like that. And I was really going through it. So then, you know, the surgeon had called me back, because I left messages for her. I emailed her asking for a referral. And she, because I told her what happened with the other doctor. And then she finally emails me back, or calls me and gives me like a referral. She's like, I want you to see this neuro-ophthalmologist that I use. And he's great. If anybody's going to know what it is, it's him. And I said, well, I just saw a neuro-ophthalmologist yesterday, and he said it's Horner's. And she said, well, he's wrong. Telling you right now, he is wrong. They're wrong. You do not have Horner syndrome. And I think you have myasthenia gravis, and I'm really concerned.
And it's so hard for them to, you know, because it's not their scope of practice. So if, and she definitely, I'm definitely sure she was going with her gut, because she's obviously seen it. And she knows, but she can't say, you know,
exactly. She can't officially diagnose me with it, but she knew it was that. And because what she does is mostly surgeries on ptosis. That's what she does. So she has seen a ton of both MG and Horner's cases, and she knows the difference. And she was like, I'm telling you, you don't have them. They're wrong. And she was adamant about it. And she was like, you need to see this doctor. He will know what it is. If anyone knows, it's him. So I went to him, and he was so nice and so thorough. And he just, he and his resident, like, just really went in, and like, and were so just understanding, and they believed me. They knew what I was saying was real. And they, and he did a trial of Mestinon with me, and he said, you know, come back in a month, and if this works for you, I want you to take pictures before and after doses, and if it works, then then, you know, like come
I'm gonna
back.
move
If
forward.
it works, then show me the pictures and we'll take it from there. And it did work really well. And he said, you know, he was like, you definitely have myasthenia gravis, and I'm concerned that you can't wait until September. This was June. You can't wait until September for the neurology appointment that you made with, you know, NYU. And he said, so I want to get you an urgent appointment because, you know, this could really go badly quickly because you have, you know, issues at that point, swallowing, my voice, you know, speech, sometimes slurring. And he was just like, you know, I really want you to get seen. So that was June 26th, 2019. Yeah, right? June 26th, 2019. And then July 11th, I ended up in the neuro ICU. And I was so bad. And had I not been diagnosed, we hear stories all the time from people with MG who end up in the ER and they're told that it's anxiety because their oxygen levels are okay. Like, of course they're okay with MG, you know, in the beginning, when you're like having an impending crisis. And so, you know, that's unfortunately what a lot of healthcare providers aren't educated on. And you know, I think I'm just grateful that I had the diagnosis at that point. So when I did go into the ER, they took me very seriously and they, you know, got me treatment immediately and really kept a close eye on me in the ICU and, you know, got me well enough a couple days later to walk out of there and feel pretty decent. And so I'm really grateful for that surgeon and for that neuro-ophthalmologist.
That's so scary. It is scary, it's heartbreaking, it's disappointing. It's just because we put our trust in, and these are strangers to us. And we don't have a choice because they're there to care for us. But to go through something and they're saying it's all in your head, we don't want to just sit at home and 1 minute we're fine and then the next minute we can't even talk. We don't want to go through, we can't chew, we can't swallow, we can't see, you know,
Right.
we can't walk, you know. So why would anybody make that up in their head? So
Exactly.
you're
That's what I
saying
said.
it. Yeah, like you're saying it and you still, you know, going to dismiss it.
Yeah.
Um those are the type of people that don't need to practice medicine. And
Agreed.
I'm grateful that you got the help and you found the help that you need to be sitting here with me today again,
Thank
you
you.
know, talking and doing all of these extravagant things with traveling and music and um
Well, I
it's
was doing that. Now we got a
no,
pandemic, so I don't know.
yeah. But it's a blessing, you know. I'm glad that
Hmm.
you are here and just to get a small glimpse of the things that you are now doing, like your paintings in the background and listening to your music. It's amazing. We have a lot of hidden talent in the MG community, and it's not that
We do.
it's not that they don't like try to hide it. I think with talking with different ones, they have a little bit of um the sense of being, you know, scared to try to attempt it because they don't think that they'll be able to finish it.
Hmm. And you know
But
what?
I say go
That
for it.
I say go for it too. Um, you know, I this took me like this right here. Get up for you. This took and by the way, it's finished. The other day when we talked,
Yes, I
it
see.
wasn't it wasn't there
That is
yet.
beautiful.
Thank you. This is my neighbor and her dog. They both died. Well, my neighbor Doris died in 2000. She died in October, and the dog died like a couple years before. But this took me a few weeks, and I usually, like before MG, I was used to being able to paint really quickly,
Hmm.
and I could just get it done. I can just, you know, I could just power through and do it like in 2 days, several hours each day, and just I'd be done. Something like that would be over. But this took me like over 3 weeks. It took me over 3 weeks, and I'm
But
not
you
used
got
to
it
that. I like
done.
it, but I got it done. And that's the thing. I think like it's not what I want, because I want things to be a certain way. I'm used to doing things a certain way, but I will take being able to do it being able to do it at all, and it just taking longer than not being able to do it.
Absolutely. You
So
move
I'll
at your
take
own
that any
pace.
day. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's gonna take us a few more minutes to do this, that, and the other, we, but just keep doing it. Just keep going. Just keep
Mhm.
living. I know, everybody's diagnosis is different, and that's absolutely fine. So whether you're using a cane, a walker, a wheelchair, there's still so much life to
Mhm.
live. Get whatever you have to get, whatever device that you use,
Yep.
and just roll on and do it.
Mhm. Right.
Small steps. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
be, you know, big and extravagant, shooting out glitter and all of that stuff. The smallest thing to me is probably the best thing that makes me happy.
Yep.
So
Me too. Yeah. And, someone asked me recently, what would you, because I was saying, you don't know problems until you don't have health. And, I thought I had problems before. I thought,
right.
and not until MG came along did I really feel like, do I feel like I really had problems? Not that, and I'm not trying to minimize it totally. I mean, yes, everybody does, their issues, and
It's just
things we all
different.
go through. It's different because it amplifies any other problem. You have a problem with finances, you have a problem with relationships or work or whatever it is. Having your health not up to par, not where you want it to be, can impact all of that. And
Yes.
and my friend said, "What would you do?" And I asked this question in the group last week, because one of the MG Facebook groups, because I just was like, oh, I want to get everybody else thinking, like, what would you do? And she's like, well, if you had regular problems for a day, what would you do? And I was like, girl, I would walk. I would walk everywhere, because I live in New York City, so
We're gonna make that a
that's what we
question on
do.
the we're gonna make that a question on the page, and
Yeah.
see what we can get out, the results we can get from that.
Yeah, you should, because it's like, and it's nice to kind of, it's nice to imagine that. I think for me, it was a reminder, like, okay, at some point that could happen, for that'll happen.
Mhm.
I'm a work toward that. Like, it's sometimes good, nice to be clear about what we really do want, and what we're working toward, or what the goal is. Sometimes, I know for me, sometimes MG gets me down. I mean, it's not all. People always say like, oh, you're so bubbly, you're so, like, you're so positive,
Yeah,
and
I get
yes,
that
and
a
that,
lot too.
yeah, and that's my default. Like, that's how I usually am. But there are times when I'm going through it too, and so sometimes remembering things like that, the simple things, like, it's not that I can't walk. I can walk. I just can't walk far. So I can't go walking 10, 20, 30 blocks like I used to in the city. And I used to just do that just because in New York,
Hmm.
that's the
That's the
lifestyle. That's what we
norm up
do.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what we do. And now I'm like trying to walk to the corner and I have a problem, So for me, that's what I would do. And but remembering things like that makes me go like, okay, like, gets me excited about it, kind of like, okay, like, yeah, let me get this treatment together, and you know, try to keep it moving.
I was gonna ask you what one inspirational thing you could tell the MG community, but I think you just did. I honestly
It
believe
all
you
worked
just
itself out.
did. Yes, it does. I just I never thought that this would be something that I would be doing. Um, I actually just went public with this a couple of years ago. I've had MG since I was 6.
Wow. What made you do
You,
that?
you know, that's for another time, because this is
Okay.
your time.
Well, I want to know. You have to tell me.
Yeah, you know what I think? think I got something up my sleeve
Okay.
to get that out. So,
Okay.
but
Good.
but yeah, you know what? I'm gonna come to New York and I'm going
Okay.
to see you and I'm going to
Come
meet
on
you.
then.
I
Yes.
am I was telling my mom, I said, you know what, this pandemic is getting on my nerves and I'm not ready to get on the airplane, but I will
Mhm.
get in a car.
Come
I love a good road trip.
on then.
But my goal is to meet as many um in the MG community as I possibly can. And you are
Hmm.
absolutely on my list. I know we're gonna have a ball
Do
when
it.
we
Yep. You know it. I can already tell. I can tell. We gotta
yes.
invite. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know her. Amy lives in New York too. She's in Queens. Um, Robert, my dog, sorry, Amy Zayner, and we gotta get her. We gotta get her in the mix. We gotta
Even
get Robert. We gotta get Nikki Banks in the mix. Robert, come here. I know why. Robert.
yes, I've seen Nikki. Yeah, I've spoken with Nikki in the group.
We
I
gotta
think we're
all have a
friends on
thing.
Facebook as well. So oh
Oh my God. What the heck?
it's
Come here.
okay.
Come here, honey. Robert. Sorry.
I know
He
you're
is.
fine.
Robert, come here, honey. He's being a damn fool. He knows better than this. He doesn't even care. Because he thinks somebody's at the door, but they're not. And what
Uh-uh.
he's gonna do is kind of make me give him another treat.
No,
Come
it's
here.
okay. No, but I'm so happy that you did this again, even with the technical difficulties we were having. But another go round talking with you, not a problem at all. And we're gonna do it again because like I said, I got a few things up my sleeve and I want you involved. So um
Can you hold on 1
I
second?
just
Can you hold 1 second?
yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Robert, come here, honey. Okay, there's nobody there. Okay, it's just my phone. Yeah, you're a good boy though.
Oh, her paintings are just so beautiful, you all. That is absolutely amazing.
What? What is?
I was just your paintings. I was just mentioning.
Sorry.
Hi,
Oh, thank you.
Robert.
Say hi, Robert. Good boy. Say hi, honey. Oh, hi. Is that my baby dog? Hi, Bob. Say hi, honey. You're such a good boy. I know that. Remember that? Oh, I love him so much. You're a good boy. Yeah, remember that?
Oh, my son
Okay.
wants a dog. I'm still
He does.
debating.
You don't want to get him one?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a whole nother mouth to feed and a
yeah, it is.
whole different, yes. But, yeah, again, I'm just grateful that you did this again. And like I said, I love talking to you. You're just so
Yeah, you
sweet
too. Same
and
here.
bubbly and yeah, I'm like that too. So
Yeah.
it worked
Come on. Come to New York. We're going to get the crew together.
out. Yes, we will. But I won't keep you any longer, so you can get with Robert.
Yeah. I
But
got food delivered because it's restaurant week in New York City.
is
And
it?
and also um I'm too tired. MG's not gonna let me cook. So tonight, so I'm like, I ordered some food and I'm just gonna, try to fight him off while I eat it.
Yeah.
That's the plan for tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, NG
So
has made us both tired, but
yeah.
we still push through and we still
Yep,
keep going, and that's always the key.
that's right.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on this. I love what you're doing. I think it's so good for the MG community. And,
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear your story your coming out story on why you did all this.
Yes,
Look
I'm
forward
getting
to
it
it.
together. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty big. So I'm excited. I adore this. It's like I said, it's absolutely new to me. Never in a million years did I imagine this was what I would be doing. But I love it and I
I
wouldn't
feel
change
you.
it.
I feel you.
Yeah, so that is all the positive energy that we are putting into the MG community. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So,
Mm-hmm. I know
but
that's
again,
right.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And
Thank
you
you.
have a great night. I
You
need to
too.
look into this restaurant week up there.
It's just they give
And
like deals on all these restaurants, like so many
I
restaurants. It's
love
good.
it. I
Yeah.
love it. That's all I need is a good deal and I'm good.
Same. Same. All right. Well,
So
thank you. We'll talk
thank
soon. Come to New
you.
York.
Absolutely. And we are signing off.
All right. Bye.